Hi everyone, Charlene here, and this is my discussion video for week 5 based on the poetry reading. And yeah, so basically I'll be answering this week's prompt, which questions in what way poetry is useful in today's world, and if there are other genres that are better suited for capturing lament. So after reading all the poems, I think that the poem that definitely captured my attention the most was Still I Rise. I had a very different approach to it. So instead of watching the videos and then reading the poem, I decided to read the poem first and then watch the video, because I don't know, I feel like I wanted to read it first for myself and sort of see what I would understand from it, and then watch the video while reading it again the second time to get a better understanding of it. And I feel that it definitely helped me get a deeper understanding of it, because after learning about Maya Angelou, the author's backstory and what had encouraged her to write that, I was definitely struck by how powerful and hopeful it is, and that it actually was a declaration of hope, which was interesting because I feel like all the poems have like a common theme of like lament, and this one did have sort of a little bit of despair, but it also focused on like hope, which I really liked. So Angelo, the author, acknowledges the pain and injustice that she had to experience, but I like how she didn't let that determine her present or future self. Instead, she used a lot of repetition in her poetry, like the words "I rise" over and over, which I think served as a reminder to both herself and the reader that suffering doesn't have to be where it ends. Like, you can still rise above your struggles, and you can still rise above the injustices and stuff that you're faced with. And so after reading, when I did the second reading with the video, one thing that stood out to me was how important context is when reading the poem, because the professor explained that Still Arise was deeply impacted by how, like, her life experiences as a Black woman in America, and, you know, the history of slavery, racism, and discrimination. So knowing what had encouraged her to write the poem definitely changed the way I read it, because I didn't realize it was that deep when I read it the first time. Which then goes to the prompt, which stated, in what way is poetry useful in the world today? So here's the beautiful thing about poetry. Poetry is universal, and while I cannot like fully understand Maya Angelou's experiences, I feel like I can also relate to her repetition, like the words she repeats in the poem, The Still Arise, and the feeling of like overcoming challenges. Poetry is beautiful because there are moments where you can just read something and it is just so beautifully said or beautifully expressed that it just makes you relate more with the author or whatever it is that's trying to get across. Like in this poem, Maya Angelou was talking about rising above what she had experienced, but when I read it, I thought about how I could rise above my challenges, and which made me express like deep feelings of like resilience and also lament when thinking about that. So this poem used a lot of repetition and imagery and emotion. I could literally feel it when I was reading it. And when Maya Angelou repeats "I rise" at the end of the poem, it almost sounds like a victory phrase, like a victory song. And that repetition definitely builds hope and confidence in ways that ordinary words cannot. So are there other genres that are better suitable, like better capable of capturing lament? I feel like in today's world, where so many people carry hidden stuff, poetry does better, because poetry has the beauty of reaching all audiences in all different ways, and it helps us express emotions that are difficult to explain, and it reminds us of our shared humanity, things that are universal that we all experience and can just, like, or what's what I'm looking for, that something that we can all relate to, and it gives us hope